We've covered Amber Kim in the past. Amber Kim used to be Brian Kim when he was convicted of murder, sent to jail. He identifies as a woman. And in fairness, I actually base solely on the fact that Amber Kim was scheduled to go through with bottom surgery. I'm going to go with that's at least commitment. Like, I don't think this is a scam in that sense. But Amber Kim had been put into the Washington Correction Center for Women out in Pierce County, and she had been staying there for about 4 years. She was getting her so-called gender-affirming health care. But back in June, Amber Kim ended up getting transferred to the Monroe Correctional Complex, which is for men, because of an incident in which some rules were broken, like having sex with your cellmate, which is, as it turns out,
is that wrong?
Against the rules. Yeah. At least that's what was reported at the time. So now, according to the Seattle Times, after this removal and I guess being moved back to housing that is not consistent with one's gender identity in jail, the Seattle Times has a story about the ACLU filing on behalf of Amber Kim what's known as a personal restraint petition. They did this in state court of appeals, arguing that putting someone who is transgender, a trans female inmate, into a men's prison is cruel punishment. Now, going through the state court system, to me, signals Amber Kim's going to win this, and they're going to call this cruel and unusual punishment. They say in the Times, Kim's transfer came about 3 months after she received an infraction for having sex with another incarcerated woman. The infraction report was leaked to a right-wing magazine. You mean National Review? Okay. The evil right wing? National Review gets called out for not being conservative enough, right?
It's kind of the moderate establishment Republican.
And picked up by larger conservative media outlets, which misgendered Kim and implied it could not have been consensual. This is a news story in the Seattle Times writing in that way, which kind of indicates it's not really straight news.
Sounds more like commentary to me.
It's a little bit of editorializing. Kim says it was consensual. DOC policy says incarcerated transgender people placed in gender-affirming facility may be transferred, quote, due to documented objective safety and security concerns. And by the way, that could also mean security of the individual trans inmate, just so people understand. A spokesperson said that lawyers with the Department of Corrections haven't reviewed the lawsuit yet. Don't worry, you're not going to get a comment, even if we did, because we don't comment on pending lawsuits. Now, they put this lower in the story because for me, and perhaps I'm in the minority here, although certainly of the people listening, I feel like I might not be. They have a section in this article in which Amber Kim says, quote, "We are being denied our humanity in a systemic way. Being in isolation like this is soul-sucking. We are being denied our humanity." Okay? They don't really lead with the fact that Amber Kim is serving a life sentence for 2 counts of first-degree murder. One might argue Amber Kim denied the humanity of, 2 souls that she decided to murder, but now wants us to cry with her and sympathize with her loss of humanity. This is, of course, almost a parody. And we're getting to that point where you can start identifying stories based on their topics and know where they originated. There used to be a game. Things have changed for Florida. But Florida used to be that one state where all the crazy stories used to happen. All of them.
Hence, like the Florida man meme, yeah.
All of them. But that has changed dramatically in the last, maybe it started a little bit pre-COVID, but certainly, the Ron DeSantis era of Florida, things have changed. Once Tampa stopped looking like it was inhabitable and it actually like had buildings and plumbing and whatnot, that's when things started to change from Florida. Now if I told you this story and I didn't tell you where it was, I'm guessing you could have either narrowed it down to Washington, Oregon, or California. It would be a West, maybe you can throw in Massachusetts, maybe, but for the most part, I'm guessing you would say a West Coast state. And we're now at that level. Because I guarantee you that this is going to turn into some massive civil rights cause, and it's going to start getting national attention, probably because I'm going to talk about it on Fox News tomorrow. But I mean, I guarantee you this becomes a bigger deal, and the ACLU ends up winning. And we're going to have a much bigger national conversation that won't end up going the way of progressives and the gender extremists. So I actually can't wait until this gets national attention and becomes a national story, because this isn't going to win when it gets to our Supreme Court. And remind me, who's taking over the presidency in a few weeks?
Trump.
And he's a what?
Republican.
Okay, and he's going to appoint who to the Supreme Court?
It's conservative justices.
Yeah. Now maybe it'll be, a wash, 1 for 1, but at least it'll be a younger conservative. But something tells me there's going to be some sort of surprise, and Sotomayor says, "You know what? I'm done." She throws her gavel down. Do they get gavels? I don't think they do. But she's got she keeps one in her desk for this very moment because she needs a mic drop moment. She's going to throw it down and say, "I'm taking me and my diabetes elsewhere," and then she's gone. And then we're going to win. We're going to have control of the Supreme. I mean, just think about it. The Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas, I'm assuming, is going to be the one who steps down first. Although, he seems a little bit stubborn.
I feel very bittersweet about that.
Yes, I do as well. I mean, he's a tremendous asset on the court. I know people still say Sam Alito, unless that's just some insider stuff where he says he's old and tired. He seems still like way smarter than everybody else. He seems more on top of his game than anyone. But let's say you replace Clarence Thomas with someone who's in his 40s or early 50s. Dear, my gosh, we're going to have control of the Supreme Court until you're dead. Right until your death, we'll have conservative Supreme Court. Right?
Well, I mean, I hope it's...
No, you'll be dead in 20 years. You plan on lasting longer than that?
I'm only 29.
You're only 29?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay, well, we'll have it for half of your lifetime, at least.
Yeah.
And you know what? Actually, I'm going to stay with it. We'll have control until you're dead, because you made the assumption that there wouldn't be another Republican president who would get to appoint even more conservative justices.
Well, you put it that way, then, yeah.
You're Mr. Glass Half Full, I thought. It's not supposed to be me, but apparently it is.